Done. Go.
Good evening, everybody. Today is Monday, September 11, 2017. It's 6:30 p.m. It's time for a Selectmen's meeting. First order of business is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. More people need to pay attention to one nation, indivisible.
Under God, too. I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, that's a good,
That's a good.
whatever the God means.
Thank you, Paul. Item number 2 is acceptance of minutes. We have the minutes of August 21st, 2017. Mr. Siganovich?
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the minutes of August 21st, 2017.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Siganovich, second by Mr. Joseph. Discussion, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, unanimous. Okay. Item 2 is the executive minutes of August 21st, 2017.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to move that we accept, but not release at this time, the executive minutes of August 21st, 2017.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Joseph, seconded by Mr. Siganovich. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, unanimous. Okay. All right. Section 3, appointments, resignations. We have a couple tonight. 3A is library trustee Randy Booth. I was asking to become a trustee. The trustees have asked to unanimously voted to appoint Randy as a trustee, so it's a combined vote of that board and ours for a term to expire June 11th, 2017. Is Randy here? No, I hear Pat. Pat, you want to come up and... Pat Korch is here. She's going to tell us all about it.
We had two people who did apply as candidates this year, and they were both really exceptional people, and it was a difficult decision for us. We interviewed them at our last meeting, and unanimously voted for Randy to become a trustee.
Is Randy here?
She is not, unfortunately.
She's going to miss, getting talked to by
I'm
Mr.
no longer
Joseph.
co-chair. I am the secretary now, so
Oh,
I expected others would be here today.
So this is a leap of faith for us, you realize, because we don't even know if Randy exists.
Well, she does, and I can assure you she does. And I also submitted a letter that she had sent to us. Hopefully you do have that.
you do.
And it did give an outline of her. And we
I trust the library trustees' vote, especially at this time, knowing that stability and the seriousness of what you folks handle is important. So I'm going to move, Mr. Chairman, if it's acceptable,
Mr. Joseph?
that we appoint Randy Booth as library trustee at the recommendation of the library trustees to a term to expire June 11th, 2018, which will be the next town election.
Motion by Mr. Joseph. Second.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Siganovich. Any more discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Randy, for stepping forward. I read your letter and looking forward to having you help out. Thank you. All right. Next up is Council on Aging, Joyce Cordero, 30 Hall Road here in Dudley. Is also looking to be appointed to the Council on Aging, term to expire June 30th, 2019. Is Joyce here? Come on up, Joyce. Thanks for coming. So you can tell us a little about yourself and why you're interested in joining the team.
I moved to Dudley about a year ago and wanted to volunteer for an organization, and I thought Council on Aging, since I'm aging, would be a good fit and find out the purposes and what, trying to accomplish or new plans or that's what I'm interested in.
That makes sense. Well,
What are your passions likely to be as a member of the Council on Aging?
One thing I like to do, which I did in the corporate world, is networking. So if you don't know something, you know who to call to find out. And to kind of what people need is what you're going to look into for services being offered.
That's a good answer.
Thank you.
Real good answer.
I'm good.
That's a good answer, yeah, no.
Okay.
I notice on your application, there's a piece where you're supposed to click where it says, "I'm not a robot," to make sure spam doesn't come through, and you actually check that box that you're not a robot. That's great.
She did, I saw it.
I used to do H&R Block, so I look at every little thing and make sure I check everything I'm supposed to.
Networking and attention to detail. Good. I'm in.
Okay. Awesome. Well, is there a motion?
What would the end date be for this appointment?
Right there on the.
June 30th, 2019.
June 11th.
I'd like to make a
Wait,
motion.
yeah,
Wait,
right.
June 30th,
Sorry.
2019.
Missed that.
I'm looking at the wrong piece of
I
paper.
was
Give her the
I
extra
apologize.
19 days.
That's what
Okay. I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Joyce Cordero to the Council on Aging with a term to expire June 30th, 2019.
the
Second.
motion by,
I want to thank you before we take our vote. Thank you for volunteering to serve. We need another 25 or 35 people like you who will pick up and help us carry the load. Thank you.
well said, Paul. Motion by Kerry, second by Paul. No, any other discussion?
Nope.
Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you, Joyce. Glad
Thank
you're
you.
here. We have another appointment tonight. Zoning Board of Appeals, Roberto Cini, 28 Brentwood Drive, would like to be a full member with a term to expire 6/30/2022, and he's here. He's already at the desk without being asked.
I hope I do as well as Pauline just did.
There you go.
My name is Roberto Cini. I live at 28 Brentwood Drive, Dudley, of course, and I've been there, I'd say, close to 15 years. I work a lot with dispute resolutions for the state of Massachusetts. It's very interesting. In fact, I can
Are you
boss-
telling us a little bit about your background?
I am. That's a very interesting question. I am a former town councilor for the town of Southbridge, and I figure if I can survive that, I can survive the zoning board of appeals in Dudley.
Good.
And we've worked hand in hand with the, at times, different times, the zoning board of appeals and the board of selectmen, and councilmen, I should say, got together. It was a large group. It was difficult to get things done. I think right now the town of Southbridge is down to 9 members. We used to have 13. So very difficult to work.
So you were on before.
Yes, elected a couple of times in the town of Southbridge.
Knowing what they've been through recently, why do you want to get back on there?
One reason is a couple of times, and not in the town of Dudley, I've had to apply for variances. I believe one was in Southbridge. And it can be awful stressful. It can be, there's a lot to it. And someone helped me out. More than one person helped me out to make it happen. And I'm hoping to maybe give that back, that end of it back to someone else who may be in need of a variance.
Okay. Thank you.
No, thank you.
And you realize if we appoint him, we only need another 24 to 34 people to volunteer. Okay.
Well, if we do 3 a meeting, I think we'll be in good shape.
I think we'll be in great shape.
Yeah.
And, Mr. City, my son played football with yours. I remember you volunteered for South County Pop Warner quite a bit.
Close to 12 years, I believe.
Yeah.
And, again, it can be stressful, even at the volunteer level, as you know, Kerry.
Well, no. We're fine.
Yeah, we got through it.
Yeah, we did. We sure did. I'd like to make a motion that we, if everyone else is done, I'm not cutting anyone else. I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Roberto Cini of 28 Brentwood Drive to be a full member of the Zoning Board of Appeals with a term to expire June 30th, 2022.
Motion by Mr. Sigenovich.
Now, let me just double check. It's Roberto
It is.
with a T.
It's Robert with an O. Robert with an O. As in
Okay.
well, you're old enough.
All right, so-
You must remember Roberto Clemente.
Yeah, yeah.
There you
No,
go.
I'm okay, but the minutes, the agenda says Robero. I said,
Yeah, there's 2
Strange
R's
way of
there, so
spelling
there's
it.
a T.
You know?
I thought there
It's
was.
Roberto.
Robert with an O.
So it's a T, yep.
Sorry. Is that my handwriting?
That was there.
Oh, okay.
Well,
it's
it's a combination of your handwriting, honestly,
Okay.
and she needs new eyeglasses. But other than that, we're okay. I second the motion.
Motion by Carrie, second by
I'm the bad
Paul.
eyes.
Discussion? Mr. Sini, thanks for coming forward. It's great to have it. Like, I'd say 3 of these, like I said, to his
Be
point.
wonderful.
3 a meeting would be good, so.
I'll see what I can do.
It's a great board, and you have experience, so I'm really happy you're here.
Yep. No, thank you for allowing me to serve.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We look forward to it.
All in favor?
Thank you again.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you again.
Sure. Anytime.
Good seeing you.
All right.
I like this meeting. It's
I
so
do.
fun, yeah.
See that? Item 4,
fun.
public comments. Is anybody here that would like to speak on something not on tonight's agenda? Seeing none, we'll move on. Town administrators report, Greg?
Good evening, gentlemen. First item of business is the dog, decision on the dog hearing that you had a couple of weeks ago has been appealed, and there'll be a court hearing on September 21st. Town council and I will be present for that. There was also a pre-hearing that was held back on 9/1, which was a Friday, and at that hearing, I'm pleased to report the judge continued the dog custody order, providing that the dog remains in the custody of the animal control officer. So, second on my list is the town has a property auction that we've publicized coming up this Thursday at 12 noon. The town will be auctioning off 5 properties, and there's information on the town's website. If anyone is looking, they merely need to take a look at the town website. Third on my list
Before you
is...
go to number 3,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to remind everyone that when we passed the policy and process for doing this, it was with the stipulation that 60% of the proceeds go into stabilization and 40% of the proceeds go into the capital improvement committee.
Thank you.
60-40.
We received our final budget adjustments from Shepherd Hill, the regional school, and also from Bay Path. And I think I reported to you there was a small gain that came in from Bay Path as a result of the finalization of the FY 2017 budget. The Dudley Charlton numbers add a little bit more to that, so the total amount that we have in budget monies that have been freed up is $30,713. And without getting into specific recommendations at this point, you'll recall that we did underfund some budgets at town meeting, so the goal will be to go back and look to transfer that money by town meeting vote to fund some of those budgets. What is missing is we don't have our free cash number yet. You'll ask me what that number is. Traditionally, if you look at a 3-year average, it's about $440,000 somewhere there. And I expect it'll be similar to that number again this year.
Still on 3?
Yeah,
Okay.
yep, still on 3. But I'm ready to move on to number 4.
All right, on number 3, rather than simply ask the select board chairman to do something, I'm going to make a motion. And because of what I consider the seriousness of the situation. So I'm going to move that the board authorize the town administrator to contact our state senator and representatives and someone from the Department of Education for the purpose of discussing Dudley's situation in terms of catch-up on funding for our school system.
Motion by Mr.
Second.
Joseph, seconded by Mr. Sigenovich. I have no problems there. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, unanimous. About time we had them in here anyway.
Yep.
So, good call, Paul.
That kind of brings me to the next point. We do have a 2-town meeting with our counterparts at the schools next Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. And chief amongst those discussions will be school financing. And as Paul has indicated, the catch-up provisions on education reform really put us between a rock and a hard place for the next 3 years. And the last bit of information I have, and I always like to leave with a tiny bit of good news, is Michelle gave me a copy of a check today concerning a settlement with the Attorney General's office for memory chip overcharges from 1998 to 2002. Anyway, $580.33. So I find it hard to believe that someone's actually looking back in our records, 1998 to 2002 to see what we bought, but nevertheless, it's welcome money and we'll take it.
Mr. Chairman, not part of my motion, but I'd like to ask the question now. I'd like the board's opinion as to whether or not that meeting on the school funding with our reps could be
The same.
televised and be a public meeting.
What if they were at the meeting?
What's that?
What if they're at the meeting with us?
If who's at the meeting?
Peter and Tyler went to the last time we met together, 2 towns.
Well, I'd like them there and let them know that this is a formal motion and that it is a public meeting and it will be televised. That's my suggestion, but that's not part of the motion. People need to be aware of why we're behind the 8 ball, and we keep getting behinder because of the low tax rate we had and when Prop 2.5 went into effect, and the fact that we have only had one highly justified Prop 2.5 override since. And they are under the disillusionment that we are a wealthy town, and I question the demographics of that. I question the failure to bump us up because of where we started and where we were when we started under Prop 2.5, and I think it might take a special legislative act to do something about that. All right?
I just have one thing to add. I was looking at the list of communities that were on the underfunded list for education. And it strikes me that those districts are all urban districts. Brockton, Lowell, Lawrence, Springfield. And as you go through the list, those cities receive tremendous amounts of state aid every year. There was one community that stuck out that was similar to Dudley, which was Athol. But what really struck me on the list was not so much the poorer communities, but the fact that you had Lexington, Belmont, and Milton also on the list, which means my guess is previously under whatever education funding formula was in place, those communities got a good deal. And they were using a lot of state money to pay for educational services. Those monies weren't coming to a community like Dudley, or as I mentioned, any of those previous aforementioned urban districts. They were being misdirected to wealthy communities. And it was unfortunate to see that.
I'd like someone to explain at that meeting, so it's got to be someone with knowledge from the Department of Education, and I would specifically like them to explain the changes in the formula and how those changes have benefited or not benefited Dudley. Because you recall, before Spencer led a Northern Worcester County charge, we complained about that publicly on several occasions, the old formula, and we correctly called it a cockamamie formula. And I don't know if this new formula is as cockamamie Junior, or not cockamamie, but I'd like to find out.
That's
I'm gonna
a
say-
for cockamamie request.
I'm gonna say it's wacky.
Yep, let's find out.
It's wacky. But there are people who will be at that meeting who will be able to answer your questions.
And we don't back down. If it's not right, we don't back down. Our
Thank you.
people should not be treated unfairly because of where we were when this all started.
I just think the politicians that, most of them sit east of 128 or east of 495 should have a spine to want to change this as well. And
Yeah.
they can send that message.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's make a,
Yep.
not make a scene, let's talk about the facts.
Agreed. All right, anything else, Craig?
No, sir, thank you.
Thank you. We don't have any around town today.
But you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna ask the guy who runs the Railroad Museum right at the line at the railroad tracks, Bill. I'm gonna ask him to come in and talk about that. They got some pretty interesting things there.
Oh, that'd be good.
And there's a lot of railroadiana collectors in the area. Anyways, I'm gonna ask him.
I like it. Okay, licensing and permits. The first one is 7A, one-day all alcohol license for Niski Inc., does business as Marty's of Dudley, 119 West Main Street, Dudley. for Thursday, September 21st, 2017, from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. in the parking lot adjacent to Marty's of Dudley for an outdoor fall tasting. And hey, here you are. How are you? Let us know who you are and why you're here and what we want to do.
My name is Karen Landry. I'm the manager of Marty's of Dudley, and we always have a tasting somewhere in the fall. We're trying to do it a little earlier this year to be able to take advantage of the nice weather and do it outside. Also, we decided this year to do it on a weeknight rather than a Saturday, which has been the tradition, to try to keep it a little bit more fluid. People coming in, tasting a few things and leaving, and it doesn't end up being like an all-day affair. So
Just
we also were trying to have a food truck come, which is going to be fun.
All right, now
A what?
A food truck. What
Yeah,
kind of food truck?
Uncle E's Barbecue.
What barbecue?
Uncle E's,
Ease, where is that from?
Worcester.
I love a barbecue.
Yeah, so it's
How
going to be
about
fun.
that hot dog cart, the hot dog wagon that's around?
I don't, we considered hot dogs, but honestly, I'm afraid that if someone comes with a hot dog wagon, we'll end up owning it.
Okay.
And then I'll be in charge of staffing a hot dog wagon too.
Now, is this the same as what you ran last year?
Yeah, we used to call it the grand tasting, but like I said, it was kind of my sister, who organizes a lot of it, loves to do events. So it
Okay.
was getting really big.
Do you know how many complaints we had about the one last year?
None?
None. Not a one. That was pretty good.
It was really fun.
Chief, do you have any questions? No. You okay? Okay.
Harry, anything?
No, I've got nothing.
This is great. I things like this, that we can do in a manner like this is nice it'll draw some people in too.
So, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to move that we grant Marty's, actually, it's Nesky Inc., DBA Marty's of Dudley, one-day all-alcohol license for an outdoor fall tasting on Thursday, September 21st, from 3 to 9 p.m. in the parking lot.
Motion by Mr. Joseph.
Second.
Second by Mr. Sigenovich. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Get that
Thank you.
signed. Thank you. Sounds like fun.
That's the future owner of Marty's.
Sure is. Thanks for coming in. We'll get that to you. Okay. Thank you, guys. Next, outdoor entertainment license. Great Lynn Luby is here from Nichols College. She has an event on Wednesday, September 27th, 2017, from 7:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Guest House Lawn for outdoor movie night. What are some questions?
That's not a real big area, is it?
Thank you, sir.
You.
It's a big enough area for this, and it's contained that the students will stay in that one area. We were thinking about doing it on the quad, but the quad's a really big
Yeah,
area.
they are.
So this makes it a little bit more intimate and
Oh, my question.
contained, kind of.
What are we,
What's
what are
the
we
movie?
watching? What are we watching?
I don't know what the movie is.
We can't approve it until we know what the movie is.
Popcorn?
There probably will be that, yes.
I want to know what the movie is.
I do too.
We can't have an
Please don't
X-rated
do a
movie,
motion
you know.
pending knowing the movie.
All right.
Go ahead, Paul.
7:30 to 10 p.m., right?
Yes.
Okay. What are you going to do if it rains?
We probably won't have it, or we're going to move it into the Daniels Auditorium, probably. But the whole purpose is to get the students together outside to watch the movie. That's the,
No alcohol being served
No.
or consumed?
I hope not.
Okay. Any
I
consumption
know
is...
it's not being served, so,
Okay.
and I know administration is going to be there, so that, to me, that would be considered open container, so they wouldn't be able to do that.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to move that we grant an outdoor entertainment license to Nichols College for the outdoor movie night on the lawn of the guest house on Wednesday, September 27th, from 7:30 to 10. That's a 2.5-hour movie, so...
Well, at least then they're not going to be watching The Godfather.
No, definitely not. Not going to be Mickey Mouse shorts. Okay.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Joseph, seconded by Mr. Sigenovich. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed, unanimous. Okay, we'll sign that up for Lynn.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn. A lot of fun stuff tonight. Sign that, Paul. All right. We have no public hearings tonight under Section 8. Section 9, we have public business. 9A, Jamie Reardon of 13 Blackmare Road is back to talk about a water issue. Mr. Reardon, come on up.
Good evening.
Okay, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, Davey.
You want to,
What's up?
where? Okay,
Well, last meeting that we were at, you asked us to have Mr. Chickering here or have a letter from him. He was unable to make it, so he wrote a letter requesting what he had asked for previous.
I apologize, I hadn't read it
I
yet.
hadn't either. I wasn't in my.
Just brought it in this evening.
Okay, yeah, we can give us a minute. Jamie will- Danny, have you read this letter? Okay. Why don't you come on up, Dan, yeah. Yeah, Jinx.
First of all, Mr. Chairman, have a hard time figuring that Mr. Chicken actually wrote this letter, because there's a few things on it that weren't even discussed.
That are not correct?
Exactly. Nothing was ever said about bringing a trench down to the wooded area and then putting stone and pipe in there, because if that was the case, we wouldn't have dug the trench. Mr. Chickering, who I've known for over 30 years, never called me once after this situation to inquire why it was left like that, and I don't know why he wouldn't. But in any case, the conversation was we'd dig a trench, the apple tree, and then the normal lay of the land in the back, they would carry the water to the rest of the way to the wooded area. If there was any discussion about putting pipe in there, we never would have dug the trench in the first place.
He says that the covered basin, the covered hole, the catch basin, who put the catch basin in?
We did.
That it does not catch the water runoff from the road.
I'm not aware of that, if that's true or not.
I can attest to the fact that it doesn't catch it. It's down further that the water goes, because it crosses over.
So what does it do?
Goes down my driveway.
That catch basin was basically put in there to catch any water that might have come down the roadway on that side and eliminate the good-sized hole that was right off the road to begin with. As I said previously, a few months back when this issue was brought up, it's nothing the town did. That water had run through that field, given permission by Mr. Chickering's father some 40 years ago. And nothing has been done to that road as far as resurfacing or anything to alter that since that time. Mr. Chickering's relative built that house originally probably around 2004 or 5, somewhere in that neighborhood. The town is not in the business of going to reshape a road or adding drainage every time someone builds a house. You have to conform and landscape your property accordingly. So this is an issue that the town did not do or cause. We're only guilty of trying to help Mr. Reardon out, and as in most cases, every time you try to do that, it's never enough. So my suggestion would be, if Mr. Chickering has a problem with this ditch, once the road construction season's over, we can go back up there, fill that ditch in. We'll take the 3 lengths of pipe out that we had originally put in there to help out. We can swale down the back of that basin, and when the basin fills up with water, it'll leach back out into that field and go across the field like it did for over 40 years. And if Mr. Reardon has water going into his backyard, then I would suggest that he get some loom and the landscape is properly accordingly, like the original homeowner should have did in the first place. But this is a problem that the town was not responsible for, in my opinion.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to move that through Greg and Michelle, that all selectmen schedule an on-site look at the property with Dan. Jamie, if you can be there, that would be helpful. And see what it looks like. And we do that before our next meeting, so that this can be on the agenda for the next meeting. I will say this, that if the decision is made to remove what you did and cover it, then I think it's advisable that that property be restored as close as possible to the condition it was in before you did anything.
Yes, sir.
And that may mean putting some loam down and putting some grass seed down,
No problem with that.
all right? I'm not saying that's the solution,
Yep.
but if that's the end result, it's got to go back to just the way it was. All right, but we'll take a look at that.
Go ahead, Jamie.
So, by doing that, to putting it back to the original way that it was, you're gonna put that 10-foot by 6-foot deep Fiat hole that you called the last time there.
Say again?
So the last meeting, we had a 10-foot wide by 6-foot deep hole on
Yep.
the edge of the road. So by doing that, by what you're saying is you're gonna put that hole back to the way that it was.
No, it would, in my opinion, only in my opinion, I can't speak for the board, it would have to go back to what it was prior to the problem occurring.
And that's what I'm trying to explain to you.
The
So
hole was part of the problem.
the hole was part of the problem.
So going back to prior to the problem would be going back prior to the hole. Right?
So what's going to happen is all that water that's going to come out of there is just going to still erode away.
You know what? I need to see it.
Yeah.
I really do need to see
I
it.
would love for you guys to come and see it.
All right?
I know you had pictures, but it doesn't.
And it, you know, and it doesn't show justice. I mean, the problem being is that where the pipe ends now, where it was only a, we'll say 2 feet, 2.5 feet deep hole, that trench that went along the way, has now become 3.5, 4 feet deep with all the water that keeps on coming out of this pipe.
Right. You could explain that, and Danny, you could explain it, but I need to see it before I come to any kind of logical conclusions. Did this erosion, by the way, occur only after that 100-year rain that we had?
It occurs every rain that we have.
When did it first appear?
After the pipe was put in.
When was,
Simply because originally there was no pipe there. You had that large hole off the side of the road. And when the hole filled up with water, it leached out into the field and continued on its way through the field, and it ended up going into the backyard of Mr. Radin's home.
okay,
When I talked to Mr. Chickering, he said to alleviate that problem, we could dig a trench through the field, which is what we did.
yeah. You know, I mean, just so you know, and I want you to know up front, I have a real problem with the town spending funds to improve people's property on privately owned land. However, if the town has caused something to occur, that changes the scenario in my book. But I don't know any of that until I see it, and I do want to see it. All right?
Fair.
Can you guys do that for us?
Yeah, we can do it.
I'd like Mr. Chickering there as well, if possible.
I don't care who's there. I don't care if the neighbor's dog is there, just so long as the principals are there. All right?
If it's a friendly dog, it's gotta be a friendly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, the other one's locked up. All right.
It is. Makes sense? Okay. Fair enough. Okay. Wait, is there a motion?
Was there a motion?
Is there a motion?
No, I would just, I just ask that we table it. You can declare it
Yeah,
tabled.
We'll table it till next meeting, and then we'll all go and visit or look at it on our own or with people there. Okay? Okay, thanks, Danny. Thanks,
Thank you.
Jamie. Appreciate it. All right. 9B, Dudley Grange, number 163, is requesting a parking waiver for permission to park on both sides of Center Road on Saturday, October 7th, 2017 for the annual Apple Festival. Anybody here from the Grange? No?
That's fairly routine,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, it is. Board members?
I'd like to make a motion that we grant a parking waiver for Center Road during the Dudley Grange Apple Festival on Saturday, October 7th, 2017.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Signori, second by Mr. Joseph. Discussion?
Chief, is that as big as Strawberry? No? 20% as big?
Yeah, it's not.
Depends, I think they haven't had much weather in recent years, so they might get about a third of the crowd, maybe.
Okay.
This
Thank you.
could be, this could be the year, though.
Yeah, could be.
I'd like to make it bigger.
Did we
Motion's
vote
made
on
and
that?
seconded.
Motion made in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. All right. 9C, dog licensing fees for calendar year 2018.
Question, just one question. I'm sorry.
All right.
There's no times on this, so when does the festival go, from when to when? Anybody know? So is this all-day parking?
It starts at I believe it starts at approximately 4.
Okay.
It's earlier in the.
It's unusual that we don't approve the times, but that's, I mean, I'm okay with it, if it's not that big a crowd.
It's earlier in the day. That one's earlier. Yeah,
Okay,
it's definitely earlier.
thank you, sorry.
Okay, so the town clerk made some recommendations. Greg, could you walk us through this?
Before the board is the 2017 dog licensing fees. $20 for dogs, male, female.
What is it now?
I believe it's also $20.
I'm sorry?
I believe it's the same.
That is the same?
I believe it is. But the exception is that residents age 70 or older, there's no fee for their first or second dog. So, remember that was was voted at town meeting.
Well, I
Then
just
there's
made it.
also a kenneling charge of $50, and a commercial kennel is $75, and a reminder that all kennels must be approved by the animal control officer prior to license.
Are there any changes in those fees?
No.
How about the fine down below?
There's no change in the fines. It's a late charge, so if someone fails to license, there is a late fee that is charged.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to move that we approve the fees for dog licenses for the year 2017 as contained in an email from Aura Finn, and that these become effective January 1st.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Joseph, second by Mr. Sigenovich. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, unanimous. Thank you, Aura. Thank you, guys. This is 9E. We have no D. All right, we'll assume it's the fourth item on the list.
It is.
Diana LeBlanc is requesting a toll road fundraiser on Saturday, October 14th, 2017, with a rain date of Saturday, October 21st. The American Cancer Society Relay for Life. And Diana, is she here? Oh, yeah, here she is. Come back. Oh, yeah.
Did we bump you out of the one last weekend?
We were, I think, bumped out of the spring one.
Okay.
Right, and we
And so
came
we
back
moved
later
to
in the year,
fall.
on the fall, right? I remember that.
Yeah.
It was the fire department. When's the fire department boot drive? Or is that all over?
It's coming up.
23rd?
October 14th with a rain date of...
And does it interfere with anything? Okay, chief? Okay. And tell us what you'd like to do and accomplish.
We've been doing it in Dudley for, I've been coming for 6 years, and we collect money. We put up stanchions so that we are safe.
You don't get
And
hit?
We don't.
Anybody been hit yet?
We run fast.
Okay.
And,
How much do you collect at these things?
I would say approximately $1,500 in Dudley, which
Oh,
is
that's not chump change.
wonderful boost for our ribbon rockets. And so
Chief,
it's,
you
it's
okay
my
with the
part
dates?
in Dudley.
I just asked it.
I'm okay with it.
Okay. What's the
We'll
board's
see you out
pleasure?
there. Come on by.
I'll make the motion.
Go ahead.
I would like to move that we grant the request for a toll road fundraiser on Saturday, October 14th, with a rain date of Saturday, October 21st, for the American Cancer Society Relay for Life, the Ribbon Rockettes, Diana LeBlanc.
Motion by Mr. Sigenovich. Get a second?
What happens if I don't second it?
I'll second
All right, I second it.
it. Seconded by Mr. Joseph. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you, Diana.
See you there.
Good job. We'll see you, see you there. All right. Next up is item E, Central Mass Metropolitan Planning Organization, also known as CMMPO, is requesting to appoint a member of the Board of Selectmen to serve as the alternate on the Southwest Sub-Region of the CMMPO with a term to expire 9/2020.
Mr. Chairman, I'm going to move that we request Selectman Ruda to serve as an alternate on the CMMPO.
Second.
Motion and a second. I was gonna say the same thing, because he's not here tonight, so we'll just put him right back in. That's
Right
fine.
under the bus.
I need another discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you, Jonathan. All right. Police Chief Steve Wayner is here tonight. He's going to declare 5 part-time reservist positions and activate the police evaluation committee. Chief?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's what I would ask the board to do. As you know, several of our officers have gone onto the positions or left, so we're looking to replenish the reserve force. So I'd like to get the process going. Use public safety consultants again to have our exam like they have in the past, and activate the evaluation committee. I believe all the committee members' terms have expired at this point, and I've been in contact with the new moderator in order to do all those, do the appointments and everything for that committee. So I just need the board to declare the 5 openings and activate the evaluation committee for the process.
How many do we have now, Chief?
Right now, we're right around 10. We usually like to have it around 15, give or take, so.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I'm going to move that we activate the police evaluating committee at the request of the chief, and that we declare 5 part-time reserve positions open, and to authorize them to begin a search to fill those positions.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Joseph, seconded by Mr. Sigenovich. Discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief.
And we'll also, too, I'll just use the same exam process as before, so I'm assuming the board is okay with that. That we've done same company, that's no cost to the town, so.
Yep,
Thank you.
sounds good.
Can't beat that.
Worked well so far.
Yep. Next up, Fire Chief Dean Kochanowski's here. He wants to talk about the repairs, potential repairs to the safe trailer, which everybody knows and loves. Chief?
Did all of you read your email and your packet that I sent on Friday?
I did.
I did.
I did.
Yeah.
Is this a quiz?
No, well, Mr. Joseph's the one who asked for the numbers, so I made
did,
sure
I
I
did.
got them out in a timely manner. No, as you know, we've had the safe trailer since 2006, and as the numbers show, it's over 50,000 people have been through that trailer since 2006. I think it's a valuable community asset. It was received off a federal grant in the amount of roughly $61,000. One of the stipulations of all these federal grants for fire departments is that once you accept the equipment, you accept the responsibility of repair and upkeep. So there are no grants available to repair or upkeep this trailer.
Chief, let me interrupt you for 1 second. Okay, my time's up. Okay, I gotta make it longer. Greg, is the intent to include this as part of a budget item or to ask for debt exclusion as a one-time, non-salaried expenditure?
I think the dollar amount is probably small enough where we can put it on the warrant and request funding for it, have it go through, if it meets the threshold for capital improvement, have it go through that process. So we probably can fund it from cash.
Okay.
That's I spoke.
And that would be my thought as we fund it
Yeah, I
from
spoke
cash.
to the administrator before coming before the board, and that was my intent.
The number of people who
For-
have
I don't know.
utilized that is
For
phenomenal.
to put it on the fall town meeting, I know I have a couple other warrant articles on there that were passed over in the spring. But, I talked to the town administrator about it. It does not meet the threshold for capital improvement because it's under 20,000.
Put it on the warrant as a separate article.
I just think it's important. They basically have to take one whole wall off of it and replace it, because sometime it sustained some water damage, and you don't necessarily notice it right away. And as you know, before I got that tent in the back, it was stored outside during the summer months, and then we stored it in one of the mills in the winter. But now we've got it out of the rain and elements because we have that tent. But also, when the new building's constructed, we've also made there was a carport thing put on the back. I don't want to say a carport, but something to cover it from the top was designed into the new station because it's not going to fit in the station. So it should be out of the elements. I just don't want to see the damage get worse and have to take it out of service, because I think that's been invaluable, especially to the students of the schools.
But we want to make note that in the 11 years that we've been using it and had it and loaned it out to other communities, just ourselves, we've had over 50,000 people take advantage of going through that, visiting it, asking questions, the kids going through it, and the fire department staff run it, to teach them how to do it. So, Greg, we don't need a motion to put this on the warrant.
Not yet.
Right now, right?
Not yet, because the warrant's not before you this evening, but it will be at one point, and I think Dean's intent is to come here and give notification to the board, and his intent to put it on the warrant.
So we're looking at about $18,481
About,
after 11 years of use and servicing, just in this town, over 50,000 people. I don't have a problem with that.
I just wanted to say, too, and the reason I specifically brought this item up, because like I said, I have two other warrant articles on there that were passed over from the spring, so this was added on later. We did get the 3 quotes for it. A business in Oxford came in with this quote, which was the lowest, and it's close. I mean, we can get it there. It's right up on Route 12, and the thing about doing it in the winter time is it's going to be in a heated garage the whole winter this winter while they're repairing it, so we kind of make out that way,
You're
too.
pretty smart, You're pretty cagey.
Thanks.
Okay.
The other thing, one other quick thing, when it does go to surrounding communities, we always send our own people with it to make sure it's taken care of. Not that the other towns aren't capable, but we really take good care of it. And as far as paying those people, that doesn't come out of budgeted money either, because we have that annual SAFE grant, that student education grant, and that falls under that, so we use that money to run that trailer as well, and it's acceptable. So, I mean, it hasn't cost the town a dime in 11 years.
But it's gonna.
Yeah, but I think it's worth it if you break it down.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I agree. I mean, I count me as one of the 50,000 that's been through it. I mean, the only other thing is if, and something like this we probably should fix. I mean, sometimes we have some generous benefactors around town that, like to put in for stuff like this. But, I think this is, if that doesn't happen, I think we should support it.
It's a good one.
It is. Thanks, Dean.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, bud. Speaking of this fall town meeting warrant, item H, we have some dates. Greg, are you looking for a motion over these dates?
yeah, I'm looking for the board to approve all of the dates in here, as specified and recommended on the agenda.
Okay, so, and those dates are for the open of the warrant is actually today, September 11, 2017. Close of the warrant would be Friday, October 6, 2017 at noon, high noon. The last day to post it would be Monday, October 23rd, 2017, and the date of our town meeting, as we already set, was Monday, October 30th, 2017.
At Shepherd Hill?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so moved.
Motion by Mr. Joseph. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Sigenovich. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Item I, Jonathan Ruda.
Gonna table that?
Gonna table it. He has a calendar of townwide events he'd like to talk about. It's a really good idea to give some visibility in one place where everybody is, can see what's going on. But, let's do that when he's here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. We don't have a student representative yet. I imagine Jared will be back at some point. Board member comments.
Yeah, I was really surprised to see the amount of activity that both the police and fire departments had. I think it was like 126 automobile accidents last month, or something, wasn't it? Or was it? I thought I saw 126. What did I see? You don't know what I saw. I mean, the number was high. It was high. All right? But that number showed up somewhere. And Danny's crew, I hope people appreciate what we do with the money we have. All right? That's really important. And I want to say that for all three departments. We are extremely fortunate to have the people we have doing what they do, starting with the department heads. The Blessed Backpack Brigade's next meal is this Wednesday at the Webster Dudley American Legion.
What's on the menu?
Lasagna, garlic bread, salad, and desserts.
Kind of dessert.
Depending on what you want. Cake, pudding, jello, whatever it is, cookies. We get donuts. We get some things from Panera.
Really?
Yeah. And we got a lot of support.
Good.
And we feed between 110 and 150 people every meal. On the 23rd, which is the day before Dean's boot drive for muscular dystrophy, I believe, on the 23rd of October, the Backpack Brigade will be having a fundraising yard sale by the dance studio right at the line, Webster Dudley line. And we want to thank everybody who participated in the most recent fundraiser, which allows us to keep serving meals to people. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul. Gary?
I'm gonna take yours. This year, Trick or Treat will be held on October 31st, Tuesday, from 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Okay. Chief, anything you want to comment on that? That's it? Wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, awesome, thank you, Carrie, and I also don't want to let this meeting end without mentioning that today is the anniversary of 9/11, and I think we should all thank God that we're kept safe, and just remember how awful that day was, and just keep that in your thoughts, as well as all of the storms that have been happening the last couple of weeks. And our prayers go out to those down south. So, thank you.
You know, there's a lot of people who need help, whether it's in the Caribbean, in Texas, in Florida, or right here in our own towns. So, folks, stop watching it on TV and step forward and do something. I guarantee you just feel better when you do it. No?
Guys. Departmental communication, Steve, want to come back up? Excuse me.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just two quick things. I sent you all a letter today. Three of our officers, Ryan Daniels, Keith Remillard, and Tyler Smith, got recognized through Mothers Against Drunk Driving for their traffic enforcement efforts. So they're going to be recognized at a breakfast in October. So I just wanted to pass that along and congratulate them on their actions.
Four of them, right?
Three.
Three?
It was Ryan Daniels, Tyler Smith, and Keith Remillard. But yeah, they did a good job, so I'm glad they're getting recognized through them. And also, we got approval on October 28th, Saturday, the 28th, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. will be our next drug take-back day.
Oh, you have set that up.
So we'll have that.
Good.
We got approval on that officially today, so I'm still working with Harrington Hospital to kind of get everything going like we did the last time for the needle exchange and all that stuff too, but we'll put that down for October 28th, and I'll have more details coming up shortly.
We got a busy fall.
We really do.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief.
Dean, anything else? Danny? Good? Okay. Let's adjourn. Mr. Joseph, you want to lead
Mr.
us to
Chairman, I'm going to move that we adjourn into executive session, not to reconvene again tonight in public session under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21, to consider purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real estate, and also to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation. Well, I don't have to say the rest of it. Basically, for that purpose, it says if you determine it's a deterrent, and it would be a deterrent. That's why we're doing it.
Okay.
So that's my motion.
Motion by Mr. Joseph.
Second.
Second by Mr. Sigenovich. Roll call vote, please.
Paul Joseph, aye.
Al Marcy, aye.
Kerry Siganovich, aye.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Good night.